All right, you guys, we're getting there. It's almost time to put hammer to the nail. But first, we need to finish our final design, our freestyle. So right now you should have your dots all drawn on your piece of paper. So it's like ready to go. But we need to talk about and think about how we want things to be strung together, because that's going to make a huge impact on how that final design does look. So the first thing we should talk about is the fact that as you're using your straight edge today to connect the dots between all of our little dots there, we need to think about, we don't want this to look like an elementary project, right? Because an elementary student could just go blah, 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 and all over the place and consider it done, right? And not that that's bad, but we're at the next level now, right? We're in middle school, so we can make it look nicer and more professional. So that's what we're going to do today, is plan that out. So even if you are planning on kind of coloring a section in, and when I say coloring in, I mean that those strings are going to be kind of tightly wound. In fact, if you're looking at the moon and the star over there, that's what I'm talking about. But instead of just going blah, 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 like that, you might go like this. Boom, 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 boom. And then come back up. Do, 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 do. Apparently these are the noises we make while doing this. I don't know. And then you might come across la, 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 la. And maybe again. Okay, so you're stringing it though in some sort of rhythm and pattern, so it doesn't just look like a chaotic mess. So as you are connecting your dots today, think of that. Other things to think about today. Are there spots that you think, there's probably different sections of your drawing, whatever it may be, whether it's an animal or an object or whatever it may be, there's probably different portions or sections of it. So once again, looking at this moon over here, you can see that there's the moon, there's the star, there's like the hidden outer rim of the moon over there, and then there's those moon beams, okay? So you can see like that outer rim, like where we can kind of see the edge of the moon, but also the Earth's blocking, so there's a bit of a shadow over there, as well as those beams. Those are done with just like a line, right? It's not filled in, it's like an outline over there, whereas the moon itself and the star, those are like filled in or colored in with our string. So think about that, like maybe some negative space is going to be kind of cool. Maybe some of the spaces being all positive space, like the moon and the star. So like for example, on my bike here, there we go, I'm going to probably leave the center, like we talked about last class, that center bit is going to be left open as negative space. Whereas, the bike seat up here, I would make sure to fill all of that in so it's positive space. With my wheels, I would bring them all to that center so it would look like spokes. So really kind of plan this out. I would do it first in pencil, but then you will notice once you've got it done, there is the option of once you've got it filled in pencil and you like it, it's not a bad idea, especially if you're thinking this might be the one that you're choosing, to go over those lines then either with like colored pencils, pens, thin markers, so very thin markers, with the colors you're thinking you might use. So not a bad idea to do that. One other thing to consider too is, are you going to have layers, right? So like maybe like with, let me show you guys the one I'm considering doing layers with. Of course it's down at the bottom, would be this one here. So I would probably do these lines all first and then have these lines come over the top with a different color. So I would have layers that way. So it's another thing to consider too as you're planning this out. And so, look back then, once you've got all of them done, you've got your freestyle that we're finishing in this class, and we've got our other two geometric and or symmetrical ones from the past few classes. Look at them all, and we need to decide our favorite, like what one are we gonna do for our final, and have that ready to go for next class. Another thing, since you've got them all done and ready, or once you do anyway, make sure you put them in your art journal right away too, right? Before we lose anything, we don't want to lose anything. So before we do, let's get pictures of all of them, boop, 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 and put them in spots 1, 2, and 3 for our designs. So we've got that ready to go. Let's see, what else then? I wanted to touch on a couple other things yet. So other things are going to be preparations for next class. So you're going to need your nails, your piece of wood, your finishing hammer, so that little hammer, and cardboard would be good too. There's actually going to be a couple purposes for the cardboard. One will be kind of to soften the noise if we put it underneath our cardboard or underneath our piece of wood, soften the noise when we're hammering. And then the other is going to be a way that if we don't want to like ruin and rip apart our design, the cardboard would be helpful for that. So getting some cardboard is a good idea. It's not 100% needed, but I do recommend it. And then other optional things that would come in handy, but you don't necessarily need either, you could get by without, would be either a clothespin or needle nose pliers. So I'm going to skip ahead to next class. You can see here that we would, sometimes it's hard to hold those tiny little nails with our fingers, and plus then we're worried about bonk, bonk, bonk hurting our hand, right? We don't want to hammer our fingers. So using like a clothespin or a needle nose pliers, so something to hold onto the nail for you, makes it just a little bit less nerve-wracking. So that's something you don't necessarily need, but I do recommend. And then the other thing would be an empty mechanical pencil or an empty pen. So this is for when we get to the string part, that you can actually like floss the string through that empty pen or pencil, and then you can use that to help you connect the dots with the string once we get to the 3D version. Once again, not necessarily because you could just use your fingers to do it, but some people prefer this. So I just wanted to throw all those options out there for you guys, so that you can decide what's going to work best for you. And if you need to rummage around a little bit, or talk to family and neighbors to see if you can gather some of those supplies, you know in advance. Okay, so once again, for next class, we want to make sure that we have for sure our final design ready to go: nails, our wood board, finishing hammer, and ideally some cardboard. And then optional would be something to hold on to the nails with, like a clothespin or needle nose pliers, as well as that empty pen or mechanical pencil for the string eventually. All right, can't wait to see these designs. Bye guys.